Now, here's a question I've been thinking about. If you're over 50, have you actually missed the boat when it comes to affiliate marketing? Because when you look around YouTube, it can certainly feel that way. You've got younger people talking about businesses they've been building for years, people with massive audiences, and people who seem to understand every piece of technology known to mankind. And you might be thinking, where exactly do I fit into all of this? Well, here's the interesting part. I don't think your age is the biggest problem. I think the bigger problem is believing you have to compete with those people in the first place. So, in this video, let's have an honest conversation about whether affiliate marketing is still worth starting after 50. What you actually need to learn, what I'd avoid if I were starting today, and how realistic this really is for someone beginning from scratch. If we haven't met before, I'm Trevor. I help people over 50 build simple affiliate marketing businesses that create additional online income without needing to become influencers or spend their lives glued to a computer. Now, before we go any further, let me say something that might surprise you. Starting later in life isn't automatically a disadvantage. In fact, in some ways, it can be an advantage. Think about it. By the time you reach 50, you've probably spent decades communicating with people, solving problems, making decisions, and learning what actually matters. Those skills are incredibly valuable in business. The internet tends to celebrate youth, but affiliate marketing isn't a popularity contest. It's really about helping people solve problems. And life experience helps with that far more than knowing the latest dance trend on social media. Now, that doesn't mean it's easy. I want to be realistic because there's far too much hype in this industry. Affiliate marketing is not a magic button. It isn't passive income from day one. And it certainly isn't about posting a few links and waiting for commissions to roll in. If anyone tells you that, keep walking. So what do you actually need to learn? Well, here's the simplest version I know. Everything comes down to one connected system. First, you attract the right people. Then you capture their contact details. You build trust through email. You recommend products that genuinely help them. And over time, much of that process becomes automated. And that's it. Traffic, leads, email, offers, follow-up, automation. Once you understand those pieces, everything else starts making sense. The mistake most beginners make is trying to learn 50 different things at once. You don't need 50 different things. You need one system. Now let's tackle the question everyone really wants answered. Am I too late? Honestly, no. But you are starting in a more competitive world than someone who began 10 years ago. The good news, though, is you're also starting with better tools, better education, and a clearer understanding of what actually works. 10 years ago, people were guessing. Today, there are proven frameworks you can learn instead of reinventing the wheel. So don't compare your beginning with someone else's 10th year. That's like walking into a gym for the first time and comparing yourself with someone who's been training for a decade. It tells you absolutely nothing about what's possible for you. Let me tell you what I'd avoid if I were starting again today. Firstly, I wouldn't chase every shiny new opportunity. One week it's Amazon, next week it's crypto, then AI, then drop shipping, then something else entirely. You'll spend more time changing direction than making any progress. Second, I wouldn't buy every tool people recommend. Beginners often think success comes from software. It doesn't. Software speeds up a process that's already working. It doesn't create one. Third, I wouldn't try to become an influencer. This is probably one of the biggest myths. You do not need hundreds of thousands of followers. You need the right audience. I'd much rather have 1,000 engaged people than 100,000 who never listen to what you're saying. And finally, I'd stop trying to look clever. Your audience doesn't need you to sound impressive. They need you to make things simple. And that's one of the biggest advantages people over 50 have. We're usually much better at explaining things than showing off. Now, another question I hear all the time is, how long does this realistically take? And I wish there was a neat answer, but there isn't, because it depends on how much time you can dedicate, how consistently you show up, and how willing you are to keep improving. What I can tell you is this: the first milestone isn't your first £1,000, it's your first lead, then your first email subscriber, then your first person who trusts your recommendation enough to click, then your first commission. Those small wins matter because they prove the system is working. Too many people quit because they're measuring the wrong thing. Instead of asking how much money have I made this month, ask, have I built another piece of my business? Did I publish another helpful video? Did I grow my email list? Did I improve my follow-up? Those are the activities that eventually create income. So if I was sitting across the table from a friend who's 55 and asked me where to start, here's exactly what I'd say. Don't start with products. Don't start with expensive software, and definitely don't start by trying to be everywhere. Start by choosing one audience with one problem you genuinely want to help solve. Create helpful content around that problem. Build an email list from day one. Learn how affiliate marketing actually works before worrying about scaling. That's a much steadier path than chasing shortcuts. And it's also the path that's far more likely to fit around your life, whether you're still working, semi-retired, or already retired. So is affiliate marketing too late to start after 50? No, but it's too late to keep waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment never arrives. You don't need to know everything before you begin. You just need to know the next step. And if today's video has helped you realize that maybe, just maybe, this isn't as out of reach as you thought, then I'd love to help you take that next step. My friend Mark and I put together a completely free affiliate marketing training that walks you through the entire system I mentioned today: traffic, leads, emails, offers, and automation, and shows you how all the pieces fit together. You'll find the link in the description below. And if you've got a question about starting after 50, leave it in the comments. I read every single one, and there's a good chance your question will become a future video. Here's what I recommend you watch next, which is starting an online business after 50. Here's what I do in 2026. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.